Okay, so welcome everyone to this new episode of iPad Only Show. We are the iPad Only book co-authors, Michael Sliwinski.
And I'm Augusto Pinaud. How are you today, Michael?
Good, good, good. Yeah, we were wondering what to talk. The thing is that we have always wondered what to talk about, which subject to pick up for our show, and then we start talking about stuff, and then we're like, stop, let's do it live. So we've been just talking about our iPad setups, and your iPad setup changed. And can you explain what happened and what happened in your family and stuff, and what's next?
Yeah, yeah. My dad went and he loved his iPad, and he wanted to run a piece of software that only runs into a Windows machine.
Right.
So he decided that he was going to upgrade his iPad to a Toshiba tablet. Toshiba tablet, not a bad machine, but it's not an iPad. So he upgraded, and he gave his iPad to my sister. And I told him, wait, don't do that. Keep the iPad, keep both machines. With the Toshiba, plenty of machines. Okay.
Okay.
He did that, went back to our home country, and 3 days later, he called me and said, I missed my iPad. This is not my iPad. And yes, he can run the software he wanted to run,
Right.
but he missed everything else about the iPad. So I decided to send him my iPad mini. Um, I used to have two iPad mini because when I wrote the iPad only book, I bought an iPad mini for testing. And then later on, I bought a bigger iPad mini because the 16 inches I bought, the 16 gigabytes I bought, it was too small. So I sent that iPad to my dad. And I was joking to you in Facebook. You post a picture of you editing the magazine, Productive Magazine number 19,
Yeah.
next to your Mac. And I write to you, you have asked me many times why I need two iPads. And I write to you, this is one of those occasions where the two iPads are cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you're totally right. But the thing is that actually in this I put the video on the Mac because I wanted to take a picture with my iPhone. Usually, what I do, I put the video on the iPhone as my second computer, and then I do the editing on the iPad. So like iPhone is my second computer actually. So I always carry two computers with me, the iPad
Yeah.
Air and the iPhone. So for me, these are two computers that I use for work.
Yeah. I carry my iPhone with me all the time. And I carry my iPad mini. Even that right now, it's the poor thing. It crashed and the screen basically, I
Ah,
don't know how bad you could see that,
oh, it's really bad. Yeah.
but it's
Oh.
basically really, really, really bad. And I understand Apple don't want you to buy the screen protectors, but I'm going to say it was thanks to the screen protector that I still can use my iPad.
Okay.
So in coming to the screen protector, it comes the interesting question because I went back to I have not upgraded. This is my iPad mini, my original iPad mini. I have not upgraded to the retina display yet.
Right.
Um, Mostly because in order to do it, I was sure that I was going to upgrade two iPads. So
Oh yeah.
the bill now start getting big. When you use two iPads, then you don't want to have one out, one in, one out. Okay, so it came the moment to upgrade, and I decided to wait until to see if I was going to need the second iPad really or not, or I was going to be able to survive. And I've been doing much what you said, using my iPhone as the second computer
Right.
slash screen, and then the iPad as my main machine. And I took my wife's iPad Air for a run to play with it and play with my iPad too, and start thinking if I should upgrade to the iPad mini with retina display or the iPad Air. And I know you are a big, big fan of the iPad Air. And I want you to go back into now that you have I'm serious about this question. What is on the iPad Air that make it so incredible?
Yeah, actually, you sent me the other day the question, maybe because there was a refurbished iPad 4 on sale on Apple's website, and for a very, very good price, totally. So the iPad Air, the only thing that that makes so incredible, it's not my sticker, although the sticker is really cool, but it's it's really iPad Air. So the size is smaller. So I mean the overall size, right? And second thing, it's really light. I mean, it's really lighter than the iPad 4. iPad 4 was really heavy if you compare it to this. And why? I mean, what's the difference? The difference is very simple. So when I'm reading stuff on my iPad Air, I can read like that with one hand without
Right.
really getting tired. With the iPad 4, it was impossible. I had to hold it with two hands all the time. So with that iPad Air, I can really hold it with one hand, and it's fine. I'm fine. I can, and the bezel here on the screen, on the edge of the screen, is thin enough. It's thin, but it's thick enough so that I can really hold it with my finger here, and I don't touch the screen, right? So I can really hold the iPad Air like that, and work on it. And because it's the same screen size as iPad 4, which I had previously, I have the screen real estate. And as I mentioned in our iPad only book, because of the screen real estate and because this is my main machine, I prefer to have bigger screen because my eyes don't get so tired. When I was trying the iPad mini for a while, I have one for testing, also the previous generation, I was doing like this because it was like I was really, looking, I felt I was in a comfortable position. And with the iPad Air, the screen is big enough for me, but the size and the thickness is just better. But of course, with this generation of iPad Air and iPad Mini with Retina, the problem is that both iPads are as powerful. So really, you're not getting a less powerful machine. But as you asked me, the A7 thing and the speed or whatever, I don't feel it's so much faster than iPad 4. It's fine, it's fast, but it's not like it's mind-blowingly fast or whatever. No, what's really for me, the size and weight is what really counts for the iPad Air, and the size in both. It's smaller, but it's still big, and this is
Well,
what I like.
that was the thing. I took my wife's iPad Air for a test drive, and what I discover is I can write on the screen longer.
Ah,
Okay, because when you take the iPad Mini and you put the on-screen keyboard, yeah, I can type, and yes, I practice, and yes, I can type fast, but I cannot do long text on that. In
mm-hmm.
order to do a long test, for example, writing a book or writing a long piece, a long article, I need something different. I need to put the screen, I need to put the screen and the keyboard and all that. I cannot do an hour of typing on the iPad mini. The
Right.
keyboard's too cramped.
Mm-hmm.
And and that was exactly what made me think about changing back to an iPad Air is if I will be able to type longer. So use just that for writing the books, okay, and not using a physical keyboard. As we talk in the book, and this will be a topic for our next show, is I am in that time again that I'm going to be revising my office. So, and one of the things I start asking myself is, do I really want to continue using this keyboard, or I can really get rid of it because on the iPad I will need one less thing, and then I will need to carry one less thing with
Right.
me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And even that I understand I don't carry as much as I used to, hey, one less thing is one less thing to carry, to pack, and to charge.
Yeah, especially if you can get, and we already talked about it, with tap typing, you can really learn to type very fast on the iPad. So you can really get to, I mean, I'm not still there, but you are at 60 words per minute. So for example, I am still at 40 something, getting to 50 words per minute on the screen, which is pretty fast for screen typing, and pretty convenient if you, like, for example, with the iPad Air, what I did, it's a big change. I didn't. Well, I didn't get a full-size keyboard for it. Like I had the keyboard, ultra thin keyboard cover for the iPad 4. With this one, I have the small keyboard from the iPad mini, which still works, and I use it for longer texts. So I put the iPad vertically and put the small keyboard there. But I use it very rarely, only to write really long text because I really like the vertical, text
Right.
and stuff. But for shorter text, for checking tasks in Nozbe, for all these things that usually work, this is my setup. This is my setup. I don't need the external keyboard. This is good. This is really good. I type pretty fast. I type comments in Nozbe pretty fast with the on-screen keyboard. I really don't use the external keyboard for day-to-day work on the iPad.
Yeah, for all the things, the small things, I 100% agree with you. This machine do plenty. But I wonder if I could just use the bigger iPad to type all the time. And then that, if that's true, and I have not yet made that decision, and I have not yet decided to make the plunge and buy it to test, but if that's true, then that will imply one less thing when I'm moving away.
Right.
And that will be quite interesting. And I'm curious to see if our listeners can participate in this debate and can give us some of their opinions on both machines and why the other. Because the reality is the distance on weight between the iPad mini and the iPad Air, it's really, really close.
Right.
Okay. So it may be that you were right, and the difference on the weight is worth for the real estate, but I'm not yet willing to admit that.
Okay.
So I'm just
Okay.
considering it.
Okay. Okay. So let's leave it up to our readers to post comments below this video and let us know what you think about iPad Air or the iPad Mini with Retina. What do you think? Give some advice to Augusto. The poor guy, right now is thinking what to do with with the iPad setup, and is looking at the cracked screen all the time. So just give him some piece of advice, and let us know in the comments what you think about this problem. Let us know. Bye bye.